Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, the court's blow on William Ruto's move to hire 1,402 revenue assistants was termed unconstitutional, illegal, and was said to be skewed in favor of Kikuyu and Kalenjin communities.
The Kikuyu and Kalenjin, ethnicities, and sometimes I don't know how Senator Mungatana and Honorable Owen Bayer feel when they realize that they are in chairs, but it's not their chairs. The real shareholders are there. Then the test, you see the judge is restrained. The judge says, he was only asked to find whether the recruitment was complied with the Constitution. He finds unequivocally that it did not, but he does not proceed to revoke it because the petitioner did not ask the court to revoke the appointment.
According to the court's finding is that KRA Chairman Anthony Mwaura's home constituencies got the lion's share of the slots. That is what the courts exposed to the public. And because of that reason, the courts had to give a temporary, or we can call it a permanent break on this move to hire 1,402 revenue assistants. So AHMEDNASSIR, being one of the biggest critics of the courts, has shockingly sided with the courts now. One would say that it's because of the ban on AHMEDNASSIR, so he has found another way of trying to create a peace or truce with the courts. So AHMEDNASSIR went to his Twitter handle and said the following: "No wonder His Excellency William Ruto disbanded the KRA board, whereas President Ruto has a constitutional prerogative to appoint people of his choice liking to the executive. The civil service is an entirely different ball game. The controlling norms, ethos of appointments to the civil service are contained in the Constitution. KRA board was totally out of its mind when it appointed just Kikuyus and Kalenjins in the recruitment of 1,402 officers to the commission. Other Kenyans do pay taxes and are equal citizens to the republic." So this sounds like a bombshell to William Ruto's plan. So I want us to go extensively or further this analysis and dig deeper into this ruling by the courts and the possible scenario that is going to affect William Ruto's regime. But before you do that, please take 1 second, go below the comment section and subscribe to this channel. Like this video to allow YouTube to share it to other people not part of our audience. Those who supported us before, thank you so much for that support. AHMEDNASSIR has not missed his words when he talked about ukabila of a high level being seen in KRA. The courts have also realized that the KRA chairman, Anthony Mwaura's home constituency, got the lion's share. So in a nutshell, what the courts were trying to tell us is that maybe the KRA chairman went to his village na akachukua all the youths who needed jobs, akawaeka pale, the Kikuyus, and then realized that Kalenjins will fight back. So let me silence them by taking again Kalenjins na walete hapa. Then the rest of the regions wachukua kama mbili, tatu, nne. So based on the numbers which were found there, inasemekana kwamba Kikuyus walijaa. I don't support tribalism. I am only expressing what the courts said. The courts have termed the whole thing tribalism, and they're saying Gachagua over tribalism. So if you went through the Standard newspaper today, you find that in the headline, that is the story. So still on the headline, there is a first part where Raila is there's a picture of Raila, and the issue there is AU build. Let me be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Last year, during the political turmoil in Kenya, that was seen even in CNN, Al Jazeera, those international media companies, one of the agenda that Raila Amolo Odinga realized and seen and even talked about was this issue of allocating jobs to specific communities. I will give you an example of what happened in Nakuru County, Susan Kiika's territory. There was a time she appointed, a team of executive, the CECs, But what's funny is that this matter was taken to court na court ikastop hiyo appointment because court realized that Susan Kiika had isolated other communities and picked two communities to represent others, picked Mount Kenya and picked Rift Valley. So the CEC formation was full of those two regions. Courts shut down this issue. If you go to the issue of cabinet secretary slots, I don't want to mention names, but if you look at the composition, then you will agree with me that it's majorly, two regions, Mount Kenya and Rift Valley. Of course, there are other distributions kwa hizi region moja, but back then we knew the reason why that was the case is because of what Gachagua kept telling Kenyans about shareholders, some not being shareholders, some being shareholders. That could have been the reason why. So we think that is why that happened. So if you look at the permanent secretaries, there was also talk of almost 30%, almost 50% going to the shareholding areas. In fact, not 7. It was almost 70%, the two regions. The 30% was shared among other communities. That is what we experienced. The chief administrative secretary is the same. So this latest realization by the courts, of course, it's a nice way, a nice move towards prosperity na pia towards equity, lakini it's a case of too little too late. The courts could have done this last year during the appointment of the CS, appointment of the permanent secretaries, these departmental heads, these parastatal heads, appointment of our ambassadors, the courts could have done that also. But of course, despite the fact that ni kitu ndogo, because now assistant KRA agents, na ukiangalia vizuri hiyo picha ambayo nimetuma hapo, unapata these people are clad in uniforms kama vile askari wa mtaani, those who man gates, ni kama askari wa aina hiyo. So they are clad in such uniforms. So watakuwa ni kama wale askari, and from the way how wata operate, and I thought the courts were going to shoot it down based on the assignment which has been given to them, because the assignment ni kwamba hawa wataingia mtaani kama vile askari wa kanjo. So askari wa kanjo anakuja tu ghafla, permit yako iko wapi, anaangalia documents, niachie kitu. So personally, I think this is going to encourage corruption kwanza. Now, apart from encouraging corruption, hii itafanya most businesses collapse, because now utakuwa wewe, you're not making a single profit. The government wants you to pay income tax, amele taxation yao, from your gross sales. From your gross sales, meaning if you sold 50,000 in a month, mama mboga ameuza 50,000 in a month. So maybe from the 50,000, ameenda hasara ya 2,000. So my expenditure yake that month was 52,000, but his gross sales are 50,000. So the government will require you to pay from that gross sales. Yiko unanipata hiyo gross sales. So this KRA agents kazi yao itakuwa ni kumonitor vitu kama hizo. Walipa. So businesses will collapse. First of all, businesses will collapse. So I was thinking the courts were going to make their own decision based on such a realization. Personally, I think that is going to kill the morale of so many businesses. I know of a friend of mine who owns a cafeteria, but now he's talking about closing it down. In fact, he wants to sell everything. So why? Simple, because he realizes that nitakoi kazi nafanyia tu serikali, I make losses, but I still pay the government the income tax from the gross sales. So some of these reasons could have been the reasons why the courts were going to shoot down that hiyo mambo ya kustop kabisa hiyo appointment ya watu. But from the way the courts have, the decision that has been made, I think itabidi watapanga tu venye wata-appoint watu tena, na it will still happen. So ladies and gentlemen, what do you make of this story, about the courts, final decision kufrustrate. I would say ni frustrate, you know. The courts are not frustrating William Ruto's regime, but the blame has been laid on the KRA board chairman, the chairman of KRA board. Yeye ndiye inasemekana kwamba amechangia hii swala zima. So what do you think about this move by the court? So perhaps if you're watching this video and you have not subscribed, please take 1 second and subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like. So until we catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.